You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry, ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is our latest reaction to Game of Thrones, Season 7, Episode 4. And as always, for these Game of Thrones reactions, I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler. Hey, Tyler.
Hello, it's good to be back talking some more Game of Thrones. We're getting closer and closer to the end, and I've heard this is a pretty exciting episode, so we'll see if it holds up to that excitement.
Exciting and short. I think this is like the shortest episode of the season. So there you go. Maybe the shortest episode left in the series. But we are also joined by a special guest this week from FilmSpeak here on YouTube. We're joined by Griffin. Hi, Griffin.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. I have not watched Game of Thrones in so long, so this is gonna be the experience for both of us. I think I'm gonna probably be in Tyler's camp where I'm like, what? It's basically gonna be like me watching this for the first time because I don't think I've seen this since it aired on television. But if I remember correctly, this is a pretty controversial episode.
Griffin, what you just said you haven't really watched the series in years since it first was airing. What is your history with Game of Thrones?
Yeah, so I was kind of late to the train. I didn't watch it when it like started, but like I got caught up I think around when season 4 or 5 or something like that. Basically I had a bunch of friends telling me, "Hey, you should watch Game of Thrones. It's great." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll just watch it whenever it's like all over." And then I'm pretty sure it was like, "Oh, dude, the Red Wedding." And then like I heard everyone talking about it. And I'm like, "Well, fuck, I guess I have to like watch this now because it's become a phenomenon." And yeah, I watched it and like I was pretty hooked from the get-go. I mean, I binged through the entirety of what was available to me. I was like really endeared to the characters and like the political drama and like the power struggles. Like there was really nothing else like it out at the time, and like I got it. Like I understood why it was like such a big thing. I was a fan. And I mean, I think the interesting thing about season 7 and 8 is like everyone kind of points to, and obviously I'm not going to spoil anything for Tyler, but like everyone always points to season 8 as just like completely destroying the series. But it's there's validity to that. But I do think that a lot of the issues with season 8 kind of start to form in season 7. So it's kind of like a combined effort of season 7 kind of falling short and season 8 sucking.
I get what you mean. There's definitely been some moments in season 7 so far where the cracks are starting to show, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, I think the cracks really formed in season 6, personally. But they were tiny.
Okay.
They were tiny cracks in season 6. You could overlook them because the highs were so high in season 6 to counteract the like, what's going on over here in this subplot? But awesome. So you haven't rewatched it since the finale?
No, I have not had the drive, the energy, the time to want to sink into the show again. I was like, the ending happened, and I'm like, it played out about as I thought it was going to, but like the journey to getting there was not great. And so that's okay because we have House of the Dragon now, and that's like making me excited about Game of Thrones again.
Well, everyone who doesn't know how that one ends up, buckle up because we already have a set for House of the Dragon, and if they don't deviate at all from how that book ends, we're in for a bit of a depressing ride, but it will be a fun one. Season 1 has already been fun, right? So here we are with season 7, where this is the halfway point of the season. Yes, we're in the shortened season. Last episode, in episode 3, Jon and Daenerys finally meet, our two kind of main protagonists. Everybody has been waiting for them to meet for 6 years. And it doesn't quite go as many of us had hoped it would go because, well, Jon wasn't really warned that he was being summoned to bend the knee to Daenerys. So he just walked in all happy, and she's like, "Wait a minute, bro. No, you're not the king of the North because the North is one of the kingdoms that I am the queen of. So I'm going to need you to bend the knee," which he refuses and says his people would not go for it. So off to a bit of a rocky start. Though Tyrion does convince Daenerys to at least hear him out a little bit and mine the dragon glass, which she agrees to. Then we see that Euron Greyjoy brings Cersei her gift, which is Alaria and Tyene sand from Dorne. And Cersei proceeds with one of the most like cold ass punishments we've seen dealt out on the show. She's locking them up and she has poisoned Tyene and is forcing Ilaria to live out her days watching her daughter die of poisoning and then continuing to watch as she rots away. Yeah, Cersei's in top form.
Yeah, that was pretty dark last episode.
Then we see Samwell. He healed Jorah. Yay! And Jorah immediately beelined back to Daenerys. As soon as he heard he's healed, he said, I bet I'm out. Gotta go find my queen. Bye. And Samwell, well, he's back to copying scrolls. Then we see Bran and Mira Reed have made it back to Winterfell. So we have two Starks currently up in Winterfell, though Bran doesn't have quite the warmest reunion with Sansa. He tries to explain what the three-eyed raven is to her in the creepiest way I think he could have done so. But Sansa, she's getting work done. She's throwing out skills we never even knew she had. It's a good time up there with Sansa taking charge in the north. And then we get to Tyrion and Daenerys kind of executing Tyrion's plan to take down Cersei and King's Landing. So after the Greyjoy fleet took out Daenerys's fleet in the first part of this war, they now send the Unsullied over to Casterly Rock because Tyrion thinks that is where the Lannister stronghold is. And obviously the Unsullied take it pretty easily because, well, the Lannisters aren't actually there. And they pretty much are like, you can have that. Bye. Meanwhile, they have taken the bulk of their forces over to Highgarden, in which they sack Highgarden also fairly easily, probably a bit too easily. But this is where Olenna is confronted by Jaime Lannister, and he says he saved her from a brutal killing from Cersei, because once again, she's in her most devious form currently. But he gives her the poison. She drinks it like a boss, just takes what's coming to her, says, I've lived a good life, I'm out. But first, I just need you to know it was me that killed Joffrey. That's right. And make sure you tell Cersei because I want her to know it was me. And that's when we cut to black with Olenna's like boss exit from the show. Went out like the G she always was. So that leads us to episode 4 with Daenerys taking another loss. She's been getting hit hard since she got to Westeros. She's down big. Down big. We'll see if she's a Tom Brady or if she just stays down when it comes to this battle. But let's go ahead and check out season 7, episode 4, The Spoils of War.
Oh.
I'm so used to seeing this as like the House of the Dragon thing that it's like refreshing to see it as like the proper Game of Thrones like opening. So
were you a fan of that choice or not so much to keep the theme song?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. The first episode I was like, oh, well, that's kind of like anticlimactic, but it makes sense because it's all part of like the Game of Thrones universe. You wouldn't change like the Star Wars theme for like the beginning of a Star Wars movie, so it's like that's your theme for Game of Thrones. So like I get it.
And it's Matt Shakman.
Oh yeah, it was Matt Shakman. Oh wait, I knew he directed this. I fucking knew it.
We've got dynamic framing right off the bat, so there you go.
Yes.
We'd love to see it.
Actually, okay, this episode is starting to come back to me. I actually really like this episode, if I remember correctly. It is, it's awesome.
There is still the question of my prize.
What do you want, Bron?
That's a lot of money I just gave you. It's not a castle. How about that one? It's available.
You're just gonna give him it.
We're at war.
Daenerys Targaryen could come and take it back the day after you move in.
Bronn of the Blackwater, formerly of whatever nameless shit heap you're from, with a saddlebag full of gold, complaining about not getting paid.
Yes, I'm sure Queen Cersei's reign will be quiet and peaceable.
Oh, no.
Like what?
A good question. Answer the question, Jamie.
The current harvest? My lord.
My lord.
I also think the Tarleys, who are from the Reach, would have a little something to say about you inheriting that castle there, Ron.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
true.
They've grown rather fond of your interest payments.
We must devise a way to raise their spirits.
Yes.
Is re-establishing control over this continent and every person.
It's just so interesting to me. They just painted a whole map on the ground for her.
Yeah, right.
You can count on the Iron Bank's support. As soon as the gold arrives.
Not quite yet, ma'am.
I was gonna say, wow.
I would have stopped that dagger with my own heart, if I could have.
I wish we were there to do that.
But I'm here for her now. To do what she would have done.
And what is that?
To protect her children.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, different definitions of protecting, I suppose.
Do you know who this belonged to?
No.
Oh, you don't.
That very question was what I imagine you've seen things most men wouldn't believe.
But that's just the start of it.
Yeah.
To go through all of that and make your way home.
It is fun seeing that dagger after House of the Dragon.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
Yes, to the left.
Oh,
Mm.
remember who said that, Littlefinger? Oh, he is shook.
Bran's just scaring everybody at every turn.
I love it.
You don't need me anymore.
No, I don't.
Well, no sugarcoating it there. Yes.
Thank you.
Always blunt.
My brother died for you. Hodor and Summer died for you. I almost died for you.
He's like, I.
Not really. Not anymore.
You died in that cave.
Yes. Thanks for everything you did, Mira.
Drag this man like across like almost like continent.
It's just like, see ya.
Ooh.
We're so close.
Love.
Stark's dead.
Oh shit, that's Eddie Munson. Oh my god, what? Why did I? Wow.
Oh yeah,
Holy shit.
young Eddie from back before the straight.
Wow, that is wild. I mean, I'm not surprised he was in a show like this, but holy shit. Mind blown just then.
Lady Sansa is too busy to waste a breath on you.
I can't take that guy seriously with that helmet on.
He looks like a fucking idiot.
Bitch, you thought.
I'm getting into this castle one way or another.
It's like octopus head. Like, it's just like, what the... I'm just trying to think of like the logistics of him in battle. Like, that can't possibly be good for vision, right? Like that just... You like look, you just saw it right there. He can barely see out of the corner of his eye. It doesn't even look like it's strapped on. Like, completely
Blows to the top of the head. He's safe from everything else. Not so
yeah,
much.
right.
Oh, Arya's home. For like the first time
Yeah.
since episode 2.
Yeah, that's actually yeah.
And with a Stark banner hanging.
No, because if you don't, I'm gonna hit you right in the fucking face as hard as I can.
Yeah, but you can't see, my guy.
Oh.
Your helmet.
Obviously, she just ran away and he didn't see a thing.
You're standing right next.
Do I have to call you Lady Stark now?
Yes.
It's wild that we're finally getting some more reunions of this family after all these seasons.
Yeah.
They were apart.
Especially because
This is
everyone thought
probably
Arya
my
was dead.
favorite. Yeah, I think this might be my favorite reunion out of the ones that we get this season, just because of how just drastically Arya has been changed just over the course of the show. It's just like she's a completely different person.
It doesn't look like him. Should have been carved by someone who knew his face.
I think it does look like him, but
I was gonna say that kind of I see Sean Bean. I get it.
He killed Joffrey.
Mm.
Did you?
Ooh.
Wish I had.
Me too. I was angry when I heard someone else had done it. However long my list got, he was always first.
Sorry, ladies. Another G got the job done first.
Olenna and Arya would get along very well.
Not a very pleasant one.
Mine neither.
I mean, that's the case for like all of Westeros.
Yeah, I don't know too many.
Very few have a pleasant story.
Great.
Bran's home too.
Sort of.
Yeah, I feel like this reunion would be a little
Physically, yes, but mentally,
You saw me.
I see quite a lot now.
Bran has visions.
I thought you might go to King's Landing.
raw. Imagine just having to explain that to Arya after.
Oh, Sansa is shit.
Who else is on your list?
Most of them are dead already.
I don't want it.
All right.
Are you sure? It's Valyrian steel.
It's wasted on a cripple.
The most Starks we've seen together in a very long time.
Right, yeah.
Too hard on yourself, my lady.
I'm not a... Thank you, Podrick.
Wasn't a lack of trying, Brienne. They just wouldn't come with you.
Yeah.
Oh. Can we help you, sir?
He's scheming.
What happened? Many things.
Oh?
Many things.
All right. Spill the tea.
John, not we were just getting to the good stuff, John.
I'm getting like flashbacks to House of the Dragon where they'd be like going into caves and there'd be a dragon in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That finale shot with Vermithor and Daemon.
Yep.
Start singing, John.
Why did that just sound like the Jurassic Park theme?
Did
I
actually.
just, yeah, I was just like, wait, what?
I was like, is a dragon in there?
Yeah, yeah.
There is something else I want to show you, Your Grace.
Out in public, John?
Oh. Sir.
They fought together against their common enemy.
Oh man.
Their differences despite theirs. We need to do the same if we're going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Because the enemy is real.
I like that they even drew in their little blue eyes on the.
I know,
Just
where
to
did they
make-
get that paint?
And you say you can't defeat them without my armies and my dragons.
I
Oh.
don't think I can.
I mean, like that's a really huge advantage. I mean, dragons especially.
I will fight for you. I will fight for the North. When you bend the knee.
Oh, never mind. Too soon. I cheered too soon.
My people.
Isn't their survival more important than your pride?
Oh.
Damn.
I don't know.
Ooh, use John's words against him, because that's what he told Mance Raider.
Unreal.
We took Costly Rock.
That's very good to hear.
What about the rest of the problems?
They've been taken from me while I've been sitting here on this island.
You still have the largest armies.
Who won't be able to eat because Cersei has taken all the food from the Reach?
Colgrave
Oh.
won in the Unsullied battle. We still have enough ships to carry the Dothraki to the mainland.
Your strategy has lost us Dorne, the Iron Islands, and the Reach.
If I have underestimated our enemies,
Our enemies? Your family, you mean?
Ooh.
Damn.
Perhaps you don't want to them after all.
Mic drop.
He is on
Enough
one.
with the clever plans.
Ooh.
I have 3 large dragons. I'm going to fly them to the Red Keep.
we've just
Yes.
Are in the Red Keep. What kind of a queen am I if I'm not willing to
This
risk
is
my life to fight them?
a smart one.
It's a big,
Tyrion, she's a
big
proactive
moment.
queen.
What do you think I should do?
Oh. Sounds like, what the fuck? No, wait, how did I get in this?
I'm losing.
But if you use them to melt castles and burn cities, you're not different. You're just more of the same.
You go, John.
What you gonna do, Daenerys?
All right, Podrick. Oh, never mind. Oh snap! We're gonna get a fight between them.
Don't fight someone like her in the first place.
Oh snap!
Damn.
Let's do it.
You can go and find the Master of Arms to you, my lady.
He didn't beat the Hound. You did. I want to train with you.
Move aside, Podrick.
As if Arya wasn't already like super powerful at this point.
Yeah.
I won't cut you.
Now she's gonna train with Brienne too.
I'll try not to.
Oh,
Oh. Okay, ma'am.
oh. She's out here pulling off all crazy moves.
Oh. Not Podrick smirking. Oh. Man said, I've had enough.
Just kicks her over.
Oh, snap. Lisa. We're going kung fu. Sansa is just baffled.
She's like, what?
Oop.
Oh.
All right, Arya.
What you had to do that?
No one.
Oh,
Hmm.
She's just built like that.
literally.
Literally no one.
Yeah, it's complicated.
like, no, really, that's what he calls himself, okay? Like,
Like, you're next, Littlefinger.
ooh. Mm-hmm. Arya's like, I'm sending you a message. Please understand.
All these damn steps.
What do you think? I've noticed you're staring at a good heart.
Oh! That.
We don't have marriage in Narth, so the concept of a bastard doesn't exist.
That sounds liberating. Why did you leave your homeland?
I was stolen away by sailors.
Yeah.
If I may. Of course, you're serving her now, aren't you?
I serve my queen because I want to serve my queen.
You believe that?
I know it. All
She
of
said,
us
don't get it
are
twisted, you two.
We believe in her. She's the queen we chose.
Yes.
Mm.
Forgive me if I switch sides.
Oh, snap.
Is that a Greyjoy ship?
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
fucking Greyjoys.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you haven't seen John in a while, Theon. Since you
What a
betrayed his
reunion.
brother, actually. Oof.
A different type of reunion.
This is the reunion episode.
Didn't know you were here.
Clearly.
Is the only reason I'm not killing you.
Poor Theon.
Your sister?
Well,
Euron has her. I came to ask the Queen to help me get her back.
The Queen is gone.
oh,
Where did she go?
Oh crap! She's actually gonna go out and fight these folks.
Oh, absolutely.
Good for her. Not
Although
so good for
using
these people. But
yeah, I was gonna say, although using the word fight isn't really fair. It's not really much of a fight.
we're one-sided.
All the guards
Yeah.
taken through the gates of King's Landing.
ugh, Cersei.
These wagons over the Blackwater
Got your
Bridge is
gold
nightfall.
to pay your
The head of
debts.
the line is ambushed.
Yeah, just think of how many eggs she could buy with all that gold.
How insensitive of you. You know we're in an egg shortage right now. How dare you?
Exactly.
How dare you? I can't get eggs at the store. Damn it.
Nobody can.
Meanwhile, here's Charlie over here wanting to flog people because they're not walking fast enough. Like, sir, please.
What does that serve at this point?
Dick on.
I'm glad other people also find that name hilarious. Oh, shit, what is on that horizon? Is it going to be Daenerys? Now, what are you going to do against dragons with spears and shields? Put everybody in formation, I guess. You can hear those Dothraki from like a mile away.
They're called Dothraki screamers for a reason.
Damn, looks like there's a lot of them too. And there are. I mean, the Dothraki are huge. But jeez.
Whoop whoop. Hi.
He looks like he's about to shit himself.
Well,
Get back to King's Landing.
I'm not abandoning my army.
You're the commander, not a damn infantry.
It's not looking good.
Fuckers are about to swamp us.
Main characters get out of this battle.
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh,
What were you
snap.
saying, Jamie?
big mistake.
Actually, I will be leaving now.
Woo!
Oh, she's pissed. Oh,
This bitch.
well, like I was saying, I don't know what shields and spears are gonna do to defend against that, but
Well.
Yeah.
ooh.
What line
Imagine
were
being
you
that
holding?
guy that just like narrowly missed the fire. Just like, holy shit.
Woo!
And they're running through the flames.
The Dothraki and their horses are just built different.
That guy was already just dust. That horse is just out of there. It's not worth it.
Hold the ranks.
Ooh.
Ooh, the poor
Not the-
horses.
God.
Ooh. It was like barreling through.
You know, I just want my Fantastic Four movie to look like this.
Yeah.
That man leaped to the damn line. Jumped in.
Ooh.
Oof.
Ooh.
Hey!
And the arrows.
Standing up on their horses. Listen, back in season 1, Robert Baratheon tried to warn you, Jamie, not to meet the
Yeah.
Dothraki in an open field, and now you see.
Yeah.
There's too many of them. Ooh.
Oh!
Oh shit. God damn.
What a shot!
Well, surely there's no defense for that, and you would try and leave.
And Jamie, this is one.
Yeah, there's
She
two
only
of
brought
them.
one with her.
Oh, come on.
Look, I know the Lannisters kind of suck, but you gotta feel like a little bad for Jamie, right? Like just a little bit, right? Like,
Speak for yourself.
homie stood no chance.
He's trying, I guess. A for effort.
Oh, now he's real shook because those arrows just bounced off.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I feel more bad for these random people.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Jamie, get the hell out of there.
Go get it then. I can't
Ooh.
shoot with one hand.
No.
Oh, Bron is pissed.
He's like, you useless ass.
He's out here double fisting blades, killing people on both sides.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh shit, Jamie. All right, one hand.
Ooh.
Oh,
He got lucky.
saved by Dickon.
Saved by the guy from Umbrella Academy.
Oh wait, that's the. Oh yeah, that is the guy from Umbrella Academy. Yeah, that's
He's
right.
big buff dude.
Yeah, he's like strangely buff. It's like.
Oh, Bron used that.
Ooh. Ooh! Not the horse. Not the gold.
Not the gold.
What you gonna do, Bron?
Your life or the gold, I guess.
Woo! For the first time in his whole damn life, he said, "Screw gold."
Yeah.
For the best. Oh Jesus!
Oof.
Every direction he goes, there's just devastation. Let me just take this sword.
Damn, one take. One take is nuts.
Yeah, oh god, I love this scene. Oh fuck! I forgot how much I loved this part of the episode. Like this whole battle is.
Woo!
Oh, it's so good.
This is insane.
Where was Matt Shackman for the fucking you know what I'm talking about, Larry, right? Like the battle in season 8? Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, Dothraki, what you got?
I forget what this guy's name is, but this main Dothraki man. Oh, never mind. I was saying he was doing a great job.
God, that's just.
Oh shit. Okay, Bron, now let's not get too hasty, Bron. I know that dragon is tearing y'all's asses up, but that is my child.
Bron's gonna be the one to do everything himself, I guess. Oh, Tyrion's joined the battle?
Now, why are you here, Tyrion?
A challenger appears.
Ooh.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, Tyrion, it's not looking too good for you this last couple episodes.
These poor... Somebody unlatch those horses. Let them breathe. Ooh. That Reigns of Castamere they're playing right now sounds awfully sad.
Jesus Christ.
Ooh. Oh, what a shot.
It is a beautiful shot. I'll give you that.
Take cover!
Take cover
Where?
You're in an open field, my guy.
How do you cover from that, Jamie?
These people are literally being dusted at this very moment. Nobody's come to stab Bron in the back while trying to use this machine.
Oh shit, Tyrion's like, what the hell was that? Daenerys too. She's like, the fuck? Damn, Drogon is so big.
Not even just that, man. We're just seeing him so much this episode. It's crazy.
Oh shit. Oh, Daenerys, what are you doing, girl?
Do a barrel roll.
Bron!
Boo.
Oh, my baby's crying.
That's not gonna be a good landing.
Wait, he's like, wait a minute.
I mean, Daenerys is literally going for dear life.
Ooh, and she's pissed.
Oh, you better get away from that thing.
Bye, Scorpion.
Well, plan B, I guess.
You're alright, Drogon.
Now Drogon's on the battlefield. So.
Drogon's like, get that out of here. What's wrong with you? Weapon.
Don't do it, Jamie. Don't do it. It's a stupid decision.
Jamie.
Come on, boy.
He's going for the dumb option.
Well.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
Damn. Bronn saved his ass.
Man.
Those horses got destroyed though.
Absolutely.
You know, Jamie's got a lot of metal on him.
He's gonna be sinking for a while.
I mean, he literally has a damn golden hand, bronze hand.
Oh damn! That's where we're gonna end.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. It's such a big. This is a big cliffhanger. Yeah.
Oh,
it's such a good episode. I love that episode. I forgot about that.
That was a blast. I'm just mad at where we left off.
They really said, "All right, that's it. That's all you get this week. See you next week."
Yeah, right.
They were like, that took up a whole lot of money for us to shoot that final battle, so we got to cut it here. Yeah. That was episode 4, The Spoils of War. Well, we start the episode at the same place, more or less, we end the episode, but we kick things off with Jamie, Bronn, Dickon, and Randall Tarley leaving their sack of Highgarden. Bronn is like, bruh, where's my castle? Like, you know, this little bit of gold is cute and all, but really I was promised a castle. And so he's kind of hinting at Highgarden. Meanwhile, we see Cersei in her only little bit this episode in King's Landing, basically assuring the Golden Bank that the money is on its way. And as we hear at the beginning of this final battle, it did in fact reach the gates of King's Landing. They sent the gold up ahead. They said, get that immediately into the gates, please, which I'm sure they're very thankful of now. But we won't talk about that in battle until a little bit later in the discussion. We didn't get too much with Cersei, certainly, but Cersei or Jamie this episode. How did you feel about those little beginning moments we did get, Tyler?
I mean, I guess cool that Cersei's still plotting and scheming, and she's got the funds to fund this war. I'm sure it's going to be very expensive to recoup and try and regroup, I should say, after what we just watched happen at the tail end. With all these Lannisters being brutally murdered and all their supplies burned. I guess the Iron Banks would be pretty happy. They're going to loan out some more money. I guess we also saw, going back to the end, Bronn's gold is now just laying somewhere in the field. So it didn't really matter.
He'll pick it back up.
He didn't get a castle.
He'll get more later.
Yeah.
I mean, he saved Jamie. I mean, that means that he gets more money, right? Like that's how that works. Yeah.
Well, Griffin, how do you feel about the little tiny bits we got with Miss Cersei and that opening with Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, I always love, whenever we get to see Cersei, even if it's just for a little bit, just like her scheming and plotting and all that. I just got to echo a lot of what Tyler said. Like, it was just kind of like cool to see her, trying to, get the upper hand and then eventually losing that in the end. I mean, like, this is really like a big episode just in terms of like how it affects the Lannisters going forward. And I mean, not to give anything away, but there's like a lot of ramifications that kind of like come of this. They're basically just backed into a corner now, and like Jamie just kind of like distraught and all that. I don't want to say it's the final blow for the Lannisters, but it's like the second to last one,
It's a big one for sure.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, all the devastation at the end. I was like, oh well, that's going to be expensive to replace all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. But and at the same time, for Daenerys, it's like she had an opportunity to, choose a different path than the leaders that came before her, and obviously she kind of succumbed to her darker impulses.
We'll loop
Yeah.
back around to that one.
Yeah.
So then we have up in the north, we see Bran talking to Littlefinger, and Littlefinger gives him that cat's paw dagger that obviously, once again, we've been shown so much in House of the Dragon and its significance to House Targaryen for so long. And here in Game of Thrones, I mean, it's literally the thing that started this entire war. Like, the entire Game of Thrones first started with Cersei and them scheming to kill the Hand of the King, but then this damn cat's paw dagger and what it led to all the way through. But obviously, Littlefinger over here lying his teeth out, talking about, I don't know who owned this before. And Bran doesn't fully call him out, but just drops a little hint by saying chaos is a ladder, which is obviously a throwback to, I believe it was season 3, in this conversation with Varys and Littlefinger, where they showed their very different ideologies of what chaos is, where Varys thought it was horrible. And Littlefinger said, no, chaos is actually a ladder in which when there's chaos all around you, you use it to your advantage to climb up. But obviously, Bran giving him that little nugget. He was nowhere to be found at that moment. So Littlefinger's like, what the fuck? Okay, sir. But then Bran coldly dismisses Mira, in which he also is like, I'm not really Bran Stark anymore. I don't know what the hell I am. Meanwhile, Arya comes back to the north. She is finally home, and she has her reunion with Sansa, which is a nice little reunion because obviously, if you do remember back to season 1, they were not the friendliest of sisters together. They never saw eye to eye. In fact, it kind of led to Sansa's direwolf getting killed. Their big differences. So it was nice to see them with a nice warm reunion. However, kind of letting all that foolery fall by the wayside. And then they meet with Bran, and he once again reveals to Arya in a sneak way that he knows about her. And he's like, oh, I thought you were going to go kill Cersei, girl. I'm surprised to see you up here. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, change of plans for now. And Sansa just continues to be more and more shook as she learns of Lys. She hears all this crazy talk from Bran. Sansa's just like, what the hell are my siblings doing? Like, what is going on with these people that I grew up with? But Bran also is like, look, Littlefinger gave me this Valyrian steel dagger. It's pointless for me to have it. Arya, you're like the warrior girl. You're like little mini Xena warrior princess. Take this. So Arya now holds on to the dagger, in which she later fights Brienne with in their little sparring match. And it's kind of fun to just see two of our fiercest female warriors in Game of Thrones who have very different statures, one very large and one very tiny in this world. But they both have strengths that the other does not quite have, and it was just a cute little moment. So how did you feel, Griffin, about everything that happened up at Winterfell this episode?
Yeah, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I think the Arya and Sansa reunion is probably like one of my favorite reunions within the Stark family, just because of like where they were at and then like where they're at now. Is even though they never really saw eye to eye, there is this sense of like, well, you're my sister, and I'm glad to see you alive. I'm just glad to be back here. It was almost like it was just sort of like surreal for them to kind of like be back at their home without their parents and like with all the shit that has kind of like gone down prior to that moment. But you quickly see like Sansa like watching Arya duel with Brienne, and she's just like, oh, this is not the sister that I used to know. Same thing with Bran. Like Sansa is like happy to have this reunion to like be with her siblings again, but like they're all changed. I mean, even like Sansa has changed quite a bit from the beginning, gotten like more agency and like a bit more confidence in comparison to like her siblings. They don't even remotely feel like the same people they were at the beginning of the show. I mean, it's it kind of throws her for a loop, and she doesn't really know what to make of it. I don't want to say she's like frightened or scared, but it's just like I think it's like in that moment when she's watching Arya duel Brienne, she just kind of like realize how much things have changed, and there's like this sort of like bitter sweet feeling to like everything that's going on there. It's like she's thrilled to have her siblings again, but there might be even more space between them. But I like that. I like the reunion stuff that we get in this episode. I mean, this episode really is like the reunion episode. Like a lot of people kind of come
it did feel
together.
that way.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, how'd you feel about everything up in Winterfell?
Yeah, it's interesting continuing to follow this transformation, if you will, of Bran. You know, I guess he was Bran, and now he's not Bran. But it's the simplest thing. That's the simplest way to describe the transformation. But it is much more, you know, it's much bigger than that. You know, his transformation into this three-eyed raven, and I guess now he's just he's very clairvoyant. Obviously, I mean, he sees so much now, sees too much, and it's kind of creepy. Continuously, now we're seeing it sprinkled throughout the season, him bringing up these things that he shouldn't know to these people's faces, and it's almost always uncomfortable. And I think it almost is kind of like intentionally funny the way that it's brought up usually, because like when we saw Littlefinger this week, he was obviously he went completely cold once he told him that chaos was a ladder. So he shouldn't have known that. So that was interesting. I'm liking that kind of. I mean, Bran's still not one of my favorite characters or anything. I was kind of disappointed at how cold he was about Mira and the fact that they went on this journey and she like risked her life and everyone else died, and he's just like, thanks. You can leave if you want.
Yeah, he's so like impersonal now. Like that's kind of the thing about him. It's like little like bits, I guess, of Bran every now and then, but it's just like he's just completely gone. Like he's just always gonna be like honest, and if he's withholding information, it's because there's something larger at play or whatever that he can't tell you about her. It is funny to kind of like have him be like you said, like the clairvoyant presence that's like he almost doesn't really have a personality anymore. He's just kind of there. He's the truth teller or whatever. And you kind of have him up against people who are like emotionally invested in him and his well-being. And he's just sort of like, please leave. I don't need you anymore. And it's just like, oh, okay.
But like he wasn't even going to thank her until she pushed it. He was just like, no, I don't have a use for you. And she's like, really? That's all you're going to say to me? After I've been literally lugging your ass around for seasons? I was literally pulling you through the snow.
Yeah, I mean, because as the journey went on, you know, it was Hodor, and then Hodor died, and then it was her, and then they had help from Benjen for a bit, and then he pieced out. So for a period of time, it was basically them two together. But yeah, as far as the other stuff in this storyline with Arya and Sansa, like Griffin said, that's probably the reunion I like the most. At least in this episode, it was the most nice out of all the other ones, since anything involving Bran was very cold. And the reunion between Theon and Jon wasn't very, very personable. But yeah, it is crazy to think in retrospect just how different each of them are now. Like Arya's going on this warrior's journey, and Sansa has had this pretty horrible journey in her own right in a very different way with Ramsay and Joffrey and all of these other characters, and Littlefinger too, but he's still around, unfortunately. I'm liking the development for all of them. It's Arya as a character, it seems like she's kind of almost gone close to being overpowered in a sense, it feels like, because she's out here whooping Brienne's ass now.
But I love it. I buy into it. Like her, I think by the end of the show, she was my favorite character for sure.
She's one of mine. I did like James though.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff with like the mask thing that happened like earlier, nobody stuff, like some of that kind of like goes off the rails for me a bit, but like for the most part, her training, I like the arc, and I buy, especially with her being away from these people for so long and like training with psychopaths and going through all like the insane stuff that she's been through. Like I feel like she fights with so much confidence, you know, and also like a fearlessness. Like it's like she's like, I'm not going to die, but if I'm going to die, so be it. It's like no wonder that she is like this great warrior that she's kind of become.
she's definitely very powerful as far as her fighting prowess. It's just makes me wonder also if, well, we'll see how the rest of the show pans out. Obviously, I don't know, but it will be cool to see her, I guess, raise her fighting prowess even higher if she continues to train with Brienne, since she's already pretty much almost seems like on level playing field fighting ability wise with Brienne. And also just the fact that if only they had actually went with her in the, you know, in the first place when the Hound with the Hound, like just one. I mean, I guess her journey would have been vastly different, and we wouldn't have had to deal with all the other craziness with her training. I'm liking it so far, and I'm hoping that Littlefinger gets taken out eventually because
That's mission
Fucking
number
Littlefinger.
one.
The fact that he made it this far, God.
But yeah, I think especially in their little battle, what I liked was the difference in their fighting styles. I think they showcased that pretty well. Of Brienne obviously using brute like force so much, and Arya was a little bit faster, like using her like mobility against Brienne. Plus, I think Brienne was definitely pulling her punches for a good part of that because she did.
Oh, for
she
sure,
was like,
for sure.
okay, girl, like she just. I'll hit you
Yeah.
until she kicked her to the ground. Then she was like, "All right, girl, it's on. Hold on, I wasn't ready for this. Let me get ready." But then we go down to Dragonstone for a good part of this episode. So we get lots of moments here with everyone. Daenerys and Missandei, we see having a little bit of fun talk. And it's nice to see because, especially this season, we haven't really seen moments of alleviation for Daenerys. She hasn't had these kind of down moments that she used to get a lot more often, especially between her and Missandei. It's nice to get that little moment because if you remember, this was that moment with her and Missandei where she asked her, she's like, when they take it off on the Unsullied, did I take everything off? And Missandei didn't have an answer to that question, but now she does. So that was a cue before Jon grabs Daenerys and Missandei for a moment, takes them into the cave where the dragon glass is. There is a ton of it in that damn cave. I mean, they are literally just a mountain of it on this island. And Jon shows her these little cave paintings. Daenerys is like, "Oh, okay, I see. Well, you say you need my armies and you need my dragons. Is that right, Jon?" He's like, "Well, yeah, I definitely do." She's like, "Good, then bend the knee and I'll fight for the North once again." He's like, "Look, maybe I would, but the North would never accept a Southern ruler." And she tells him the line he gave to Mance when he was trying to beg Mance not to give his life to Stannis, and tells him, "Isn't the safety of your people worth more than your pride?" So then, though, we get word from Tyrion and Varys when they exit that cave that, yeah, we took Casterly Rock, but at the expense of Highgarden, which has now been sacked. Olenna's done. They've taken all the resources, the money, all of the food, everything has been sacked and is with the Lannisters of Highgarden. And obviously this upsets Daenerys, who is like, "Great. So your plans so far, Tyrion, as Hand of the Queen, your plans have lost me Dorne, they've lost me the Reach and Highgarden, and they've lost me my entire Greyjoy fleet, basically. Most of. Actually, the rest of them were pretty much getting burnt up outside of Casterly Rock by Euron. So are you really on my side, or do you still have a soft spot for your brother and sister on the opposing side? Because right now I have questions, Tyrion." But he's like, "Look, I promise my plan is still the right plan, even though it's put us in quite the hole right now. Stick it through, maybe." And she's
I don't
like,
know. Say,
"Well,
it's not
I
looking good
have
for him.
3 large dragons, sir." "I have 3 large dragons that I can hop on and take to the Red Keep, where Cersei currently sits, and burn the Red Keep with her inside of it down, and voila, this war is over." And he's like, "No, no, no, don't do it." And she pauses, looks at Jon Snow, and says, "Okay, sir, you have military experience. Give it to me. What do you think I should do right now?" He gives a very rousing speech about how she inspires change. Part of that probably coming from Missandei earlier, who was like, "Look, we have no allegiance to Targaryens. The Dothraki, the Unsullied, all the people she brought here, we don't give a F about y'all's like royalty. Like, She earned our trust. She saved a lot of our lives, and we follow her because we believe in her and what she stands for. And so, John, remembering back, it's like, look, if you go and burn down King's Landing and the Red Keep, then people are gonna be scared of you, and it's gonna be just more of the same old power play. And then we get Theon, who arrives on shore, and John is like, "Look, you little beast. The only reason I'm not killing you is because you helped my sister." So, Tyler, how'd you feel about everything on Dragonstone itself?
I thought it was pretty great. It was interesting seeing all of the cave paintings and all of that stuff, and seeing all the stockpiles of dragon glass. It was one of those things where, like, I guess in retrospect, I mean, maybe they didn't know back then, or maybe or something like that. But I just find it so fascinating. We're learning so much about this place, and we watched Stannis be on for several seasons, and he did like nothing with. like, like Stannis could have used some of this. Did he not explore? Did he just chill in that one room? He didn't go to explore the throne. He didn't like walk around. I got to appreciate Daenerys's continuous attempts to make Jon bend the knee. maybe, maybe
So
eventually,
good.
as things keep progressing, it'll wear him down over time. If we just keep pushing him towards that direction, especially after what Missandei said to him, and the fact that, like you were saying, that they're all here because they believe in Daenerys, not because of any sort of political, I guess, like royal family-esque kind of allegiances, where kind of like with what they're doing over with Cersei and them. Even though Cersei shouldn't be on the throne because she's not related to anyone, but that's another problem for another day. But there's so much going on in this show. It's tough to talk about everything one by one. Tyrion is a character I've loved so much since the very beginning. So it's one of the most frustrating things about me. It's for me, not about me, about him, is that, like, he's become almost too dumb at this point. It frustrates me. He's this very brilliant, cunning guy with these great strategic plans, and then he goes and becomes the hand of the queen for Daenerys, and he's consistently failed. Like, every single turn, every single idea at this point, it's failed. And then Daenerys is gonna go do it herself, and she succeeds. So it's just kind of, maybe we shouldn't listen to Tyrion anymore. And I hate saying because
Yeah.
Tyrion's plans keep messing up, because we were so hyped at the end of a couple seasons back when it was Daenerys and Varys and Dorne and Olenna, all these people sailing over, and several of them are off the table now. All that hype was for nothing because Tyrion's plans pretty much all shit the bed immediately.
Like the Winterfell stuff, I think a lot of these interactions are really cool, and they point to stuff that's gonna be conflicts later on, like specifically with Tyrion. I mean, after kind of like failing so many times and just having bad plans, or just plans that kind of fall apart, you kind of have to like question his value to the queen and to everyone else. And so, yeah, I mean, and then also like there's the personal element of like his family that's involved here. And so he's like trying to find a solution that doesn't end with like them having to fight against Daenerys and the Dothraki and like the army and everything like that, the Unsullied. And so you could sense, because he's like personally invested in this, because they are his siblings, no matter like what he may have thought about them in the past, they're like, it kind of clouds his judgment a little bit. That being said, it also just so happens that like Daenerys is like really impulsive, and like she obviously has like a darkness inside of her, and so she probably shouldn't be going out and just like laying waste to the land with an iron fist, kind of like what John was saying. It is sort of just like an interesting scenario here, where it's like, Tyrion has made a lot of bad decisions, but at the same time, it's like Daenerys probably should not have gone out there and just like obliterated like an entire legion of like the Lannisters. Yeah, then I guess with Jon and Theon, I don't know, like it was interesting seeing those two kind of come back into contact with one another. Obviously, Theon he hasn't fully redeemed himself, but he's like kind of on the upswing a little bit there. So it'll be interesting, for you, Tyler, to see how that character kind of how that arc concludes and everything like that.
Yeah, as far as characters go, Theon is definitely one of the ones that's had such a huge roller coaster. Very many highs, many lows.
Yeah,
Where it's like, oh, I like Theon. Oh, I hate Theon. Oh, I kind of like
yeah.
Theon now.
I know, and that was the thing. Like when I was watching the show, that was I was always going back and forth. I'm like, do I like this guy? Do I not? And for the most part, I actually hated him. For the majority of the show, I was just kind of like, yeah, fuck this guy, man. He
Me too,
sucks.
for a period of
Yeah.
time. And then like after him like being tortured for so long by Ramsay, I was like, okay, I can't.
I know.
I feel so bad for this guy. I can't hate him anymore.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, I mean, he's like he's spineless for like so much of the show, and then he's a bitch. Yeah, and he's like really finally starting to, I don't know, find himself and like, you know, uncover that courage. So yeah, I mean, like John seeing him, you know, being like, all right, the only reason you're still alive is because of my sister and whatever. You know, that's a pretty big thing there. Like Theon knows he's on thin ice, basically. John and like a lot of the people that are, I guess, in this part of Westeros or whatever, like they're a bit like unfamiliar with the idea of people just like willingly pledging themselves to a ruler just because they believe in them. Like they're all used to the fact that it's a power game, right? It's like, okay, well, all right, if we do this, then we can get this house in here and that'll leverage this, and then we can get what we want out of this. And it's like, no, these people believe in Daenerys because they know that she is a good person. At least they think she is. I mean, I still do, like, to an extent, think she is a good person who just kind of goes down a wrong path. But like, was like a lot of what she did for them was like she freed them. She helped get them out of a tough spot, and when she didn't really need to. I mean, yes, there is the fact that like she got armies out of it. I don't think she was necessarily doing it out of like exclusively out of just like, you know, a power play and whatnot. So it's, I don't know, it is just kind of interesting seeing how they're responding to this idea of people believing in a leader and what that leader believes in, and like just like them as a person. And so I think John kind of realizing that is going to inform some of the decisions he makes. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting kind of contrasts set up here that I like. So yeah.
All right. Well, then our big portion of this episode, the big battle. We see the Lannisters heading back to King's Landing with all of their spoils, I guess you could say. When off in the distance, you start hearing a rumbling, followed by some screaming, some war cries off over the hills. So they get into formation, and you just see, I mean, I don't know how many, but a ton of damn Dothraki on their way to take on the Lannister army. Bronn is like, Jamie, get out. Like, you don't need to be out here, bro. Just go. Go back to King's Landing. And he's like, no, I have to stay with my men. And naively, I think, even at this front, I think we can hold them off. Because if I'm being honest, I don't think the Lannisters would have held off those Dothraki on their own either, but Jamie was hopeful. Jamie was hopeful that they could do it. And then we hear Drogon with Daenerys on back, flying overhead, and she basically blasts the door open to start with the Dothraki flying through those flames. We see the Dothraki. We see why Robert Baratheon and so many of the Westerosi have been intimidated by the Dothraki. They've heard all the stories, and they're true. The one thing, they kind of take pleasure, which we've already knew, in the battle. Like, they're hyped about this battle compared to like everybody else is like scared of war. They thrive on war. They don't wear armor, as we know, which got Khal Drogo killed himself by not doing it. But they're built a little bit different over there with the Dothraki and the culture that they come from.
They were wild. They were like double bladed, cutting people down.
Yeah, man.
They were
brutal.
hyped with this battle. And again, part of why some people take a little bit of umbrage with Daenerys burning down the Dothraki place and taking them, but they're following her into war because this is them. This is what they are about. And so they have a queen who flies into war with them, and that gets them hyped. So obviously it's not much of a battle. Like, I mean, with the dragon, it's the Lannisters have no defense. They try. They even have that scorpion. We see Bronn make the decision for the first time in his whole life to leave behind gold for his own safety, because he was about to get taken down by a Dothraki. And he goes and gets that scorpion. He shoots Drogon in the shoulder blade. At first, you're like, oh shit, Drogon is like going down. But we soon see, it's more of a flesh wound. Drogon regains like consciousness. He regains himself pretty quickly and destroys this scorpion that Qyburn has built. And Daenerys hops off of Drogon after they've, I will say, for the good part of the battle, she blew that hole open, and then she was targeting those wagons for the good part of the opening until they started firing on her with those little dinky arrows, and then she kind of turned towards like where Jaime was and the Lannisters. But she gets down because obviously her baby's hurt. So she's like, all right, Drogon, we got to take this thing out of you. Right there in the middle of the battlefield. I don't know. She couldn't have been like, Drogon, we got to go over there to that hill or something. Yeah, can we go across the lake and I'll take this out? I promise I'll do it nice. But Jaime, having flashbacks to why he got the name Kingslayer, flashbacks of the last Targaryen ruler who literally wanted to burn the whole city to the ground, says, let me try again. Let me see if I can be a Queen Slayer too. But, that last Targaryen was an old, out of his mind man who did not have a dragon and just lit wildfire like his sister, like a mad queen who currently sits on the throne did herself. But he thinks, let me try to kill Daenerys. And grabs that, runs at her. Drogon says, nope, and fires upon them. Thankfully for Jaime, Bronn is there. Let's just hope Bronn is strong enough to swim while also lifting up this man in full-on armor in his bronze hand. We'll see, because Jaime was just kind of a sinking rock. But that is where we end the episode.
And the fact they're still in the middle of this war as they're sinking.
They definitely are, but I don't know how many Lannisters are even left by the end of that war. I mean, we're seeing they're desolate. We're just seeing the Dothraki are just slicing and dicing them people up out there for what's remaining. People are on fire. I mean, it's quite the scene, Also, props to the damn stunt people that HBO hired for the Game of Thrones and for the last 2 seasons, who literally let themselves be lit on fire to get these shots for this episode. I mean, they were brave stunt work on Game of Thrones, y'all. Good on you. But Tyler, how do you feel about that? It's referred to as the loot train battle.
I mean, I guess it's a battle in a sense. From one perspective, it was kind of just like sheer devastation. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It was brutal. Probably one of the coolest battles of the show so far. One of the coolest. I think Battle of Bastards still is the peak of Game of Thrones battles for me. But this is definitely probably top 5. It was riveting. It was kind of what I was expecting, just because if Daenerys is going to fly into battle with a dragon, I couldn't imagine they had very much defense for a dragon, just because there weren't dragons for a while, and a lot of people doubt that she even had dragons. And they had one weapon. They had the scorpion, and there was no other plan B. Once she got rid of it, it was like, all right, well, that was our one shot, and now we're just gonna all burn to death on this battlefield or be cut down by Dothraki. Go Daenerys. I'm kind of torn on it, just because it's not a great look if you're, trying to be this leader, burning everyone to the ground. But it got the job done. She did more than Tyrion's tried to do so far. Jaime, I don't know. Poor Jaime. He's another character I'm always torn on. I figured maybe in his best interest he would try and escape, just because there's no way. But his vanity kind of got in the way, and
he's got too much ego.
he paid maybe he paid the price. He kind of paid the price regardless if he lived or died. Because I don't know about him, but I probably would have crapped myself if I was on a horseback going towards Daenerys and then Drogon is right in my face about to unleash hellfire upon me. But
Yeah.
it was an awesome battle, though. I will say, probably like I might rewatch that again, probably on YouTube, just because it was so awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Hi,
Yeah.
Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, this is really where the episode just kind of explodes. I mean, literally, but also just, I mean, it's brutal. Like, the Battle of the Bastards was very intense. There was a lot going on, but like, it was still a battle. This is just like a straight up massacre. And also the like scene, like I love that one take following Braun as he's kind of like going throughout the battlefield. Is like bodies are burning, people are like turning to ash in front of them, people's like throats are getting slit. Like, it's a very like gritty, ground level, in your face look at these sort of fights, because this is like, it's not just the dragon, right? Like, that's part of it. And I think those shots where it's like showcasing the dragon like going above and just like burning everything and like the terror. It's not just the dragon, but like the Dothraki and like just like the brutality of the way that they fight, them just sort of like reveling in like the violence, like that is what they do. That is their thing. And so like, of course they're going to be really fucking good at it, and they're you know, they're not going to hold back. And so you get to see them in action, and it's just like, God, it's terrifying. I mean, the Lannisters never really stood a chance. You know, Jaime had plenty of time to get out of there, but he chose not to because his pride got the better of him, right? Like, he couldn't do it. And I think this is honestly like a massive blow for him as a character, as much as it is for the house. I mean, it's pretty clear when you're watching just like something that is that brutal happen around you. You're just kind of like, you can't help but be changed. And the other thing is like, again, going back to the fact that like Daenerys had the option. She had the chance to not be what had come before, and she couldn't help herself. She had to do it. She's like, these people have to know who I am. They have to know that they can't mess with me. And it's like, instead of leading with compassion or like being a bit more tactical about it, she just burns people to the ground. She's just impulsive. And I mean, even to the point where her own dragon gets hurt, one of her children gets hurt because of her reckless decisions. And so we kind of see a bit of the kind of ruler that maybe she would be if she takes the throne. And then also just like the kind of violent ruler that she would be. It's one decision, right? It's one battle. She could bounce back from that, but given her family's history, given her gradual, you know, gravitation towards being a more violent person and wanting that like respect and wanting people to bend the knee because it's her birthright or whatever, you know, this is really the episode where you're like, oh yeah, maybe she's not so great, right? Like, I like her as a character, but like, you know, this is a big kind of turning point episode where she's, yeah, you can't really trust her so much as a ruler anymore.
Well, I definitely have to say I had a very different take, Griffin.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's hear you.
I really feel like her going to that battleground was her taking a middle ground between ending the war how she wanted versus Tyrion and even Jon being like, do nothing. She did not fly to King's Landing. She did not fly to kill Cersei and end it how she wanted. She took it to battle. These are soldiers, okay? Like, I know it's sad, but these men just slaughtered an entire house of people known as her allies in Highgarden. They just killed them all. Like, they wiped that house off. And so, I mean, they're soldiers in battle. If you attack a field of soldiers, I mean, I feel like it's not the same as attacking the city and going after King's Landing, which is what she
But it is a
proposed.
precursor. But it is like a precursor to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a little bit like, okay, she does this thing. It's like, it's okay because they're soldiers on a battlefield. They're opposing one another. Okay. But if she thinks that this is okay and this is like the only way she can handle things, obviously she's going to take it to the next level and be like, well, if it worked there, then, here I can kind
I
of,
mean, I also have to say,
do
I
the same
feel
thing.
like, look, if you have a weapon at your disposal, you're going to use it in the war. I mean,
True. Yeah.
she's the only
Yeah.
one with a dragon. Like, and
Right.
if she doesn't use the dragon, how many more Dothraki of hers die? Like, how many Dothraki does she have to sacrifice when she has a weapon that will obliterate her
Yeah.
enemies and save her people that she's here for? I think it was the right choice to go to that field and do what she did personally. And she's been listening to Tyrion this whole season and losing. Like,
Yeah.
she has not won a single, like, she's just been losing, losing, losing. And Olenna did tell her, I've listened. I've had a lot of clever men around me my whole life. Do you know why I outlived them all? I ignored them. You're a dragon girl. Be a dragon. And this episode, she finally said, look, Tyrion, I've been listening to you all this time, and you have backed me into a corner. I don't know how many more people I can lose. I don't know what, like, I've lost all my allies at this point. I need
Yeah.
to be a dragon. We need to turn the tides of this battle, sir.
Yeah.
And that's what she did. She turned the
Yeah.
tides. And like I said, I think she's a proactive leader. That's the next thing I think Tyrion hasn't. Like, she wanted to go out and find the Greyjoy fleet last episode, and Tyrion and them were like, no, 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 you might die if you do that. What happened? The Greyjoy fleet took down her fleet after, and she was like,
Yeah.
I wanted to go myself with my dragons to go find them and burn their ships, but you all say no. So I think her frustration had definitely built up, as she had just, like she said, I've been sitting on this island while all of my allies are dying. Like, what?
Yeah.
I can't do nothing anymore.
Yeah. It's kind of an
That's how I
interesting.
view.
Yeah. No, and I think that is a fair read on that for sure. And I definitely think there is like yeah, she should have done something, but it's like it almost felt like she lost herself in the violence a little bit. Not completely, but it is. I think the interesting thing going on here is what you said between Tyrion and Daenerys, where it's like Tyrion's a bit too cautious. He's like a bit unsure of when to act and how to act, and so he plays things a bit too safe. And I think as a result, that pushes Daenerys to be a bit too impulsive with her decision makings and kind of go to the other extreme, because she already kind of has a little bit of that to her, but it's like when your hand is being a bit more reserved and is kind of like a bit too wishy-washy, and you're noticing that isn't getting the results that you want. Yeah, it's not working. Then like that's gonna push her to act, and sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, but it's gonna be like more aggressive and more just like impulsive.
Matt Shackman directed the hell out of this, and I'm excited for Fantastic Four. If that third act is anything like
yeah, that is the thing. That is a very well directed episode. Yeah.
This episode too, though, one key moment is kind of the first time we actually see what the dragons can do. Like, we saw them because the only other time she's really done anything big with the dragons, like she burned that guy, the little frickin' when they were tiny babies, and she burned the warlock.
Yeah.
And then the only other time she's used them really is when she took down the slavers when they were attacking Marine, and she had to stop them from taking down the city. She used them, but not to this extent. So this is the first time where even if you're on Team Daenerys, you see the devastation of using firepower. I mean, that's kind of the thing. That's what I like about the episode. It really humanizes your enemy to show, like, whoo, this is. I mean, it's brutal.
And that was just one. Yes, three
that
dragons.
was just one. When you set off a nuke, it is brutal. And that's always what everyone kind of compared the dragons to, is like nuclear warfare. Is like when you drop that nuke on people, devastation is sure to ensue one way or another.
Oh yeah.
Well, Tyler, at this point, so now we have the Lannister army kind of wiped for the moment, at least. Daenerys has her first win since touching ground on Westeros, if you will, but Cersei has her gold, so she's able to pay off an Iron Bank. And Arya's in Winterfell. All these little fun things are happening. What are your predictions looking like now?
I guess John will go back with the Dragon Glass because that's kind of like his
That's
main
true.
goal. I imagine he's probably not going to bend the knee, which could probably cause some more problems given what we just found out Daenerys did. It could be interesting to see how he feels
How he
about that.
reacts.
As far as all that stuff goes, I imagine Jamie's going to be alive. I mean, I figured, it was a great ending. It makes me want to watch the next episode like immediately, but I won't.
Yeah.
Just because it was such like a good ending, and I need to know what happens after that, just because it was so riveting. As far as like immediate predictions, I can't really predict too much. I figure that maybe Daenerys will continue this path since it continues to actually show positive results for her campaign as opposed to Tyrion's results usually leading to losses.
And I guess that reinforcement idea, what will it do? All right, and Griffin, we'll start with you. Who were your favorite and least favorite characters of this episode?
That's interesting. Least favorite? I mean, well, it continues to be like Littlefinger, right? Like he sucks. Probably him. It's interesting with this one. Is like I'm partially inclined to say like Daenerys just because of like the insane violence, but also like it's targeted towards an enemy, and it's like I don't know. So it's like it's a bit more complicated for her. So I think definitely least favorite Littlefinger. Favorite probably just Arya again because she continues to be the ultimate badass, and like seeing her take on Brienne and basically match her, win the fight. Well, actually not even win, but I guess just like duel to a draw, is impressive. And then obviously her reuniting with Sansa and that stuff. So yeah, those would probably be mine too. It's definitely not Jamie. Jamie's a loser in this episode, that's for sure.
Tyler.
Yeah, as far as my faves, definitely Arya is one. Arya continues to be a pretty great character. I'm still kind of on the fence about Tyrion just because he's become an idiot in the last season or so. But like I've always been so inclined to liking Tyrion, and he doesn't do anything egregious this episode that would make me like hate him, because most of the episode he's just standing in the distance telling Jamie to not be an idiot himself and charge at a giant dragon.
Also, why was Tyrion even there? That's like a question I have. Like, there was no reason for Tyrion to come.
Yeah, Arya's great. Brienne's great. Trying to think of characters I liked in the episode that are alive. I mean, John didn't have a whole lot to do this episode. Missandei had some great moments, and getting through to John on why they followed Daenerys. Yeah, as far as least favorites though, it has to be Littlefinger. Like Littlefinger's the worst. He continues to be the worst. I would even objectively say Bran should be there too.
Oh yeah, actually Bran is he's kind of a little shit this episode.
He's kind of an asshole to people.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's not his fault because he's not Bran anymore. Whatever that thing he's calling himself. No one. Three-eyed Raven, Bran.
Mysteries, yes. All right. Well, that was our reaction and discussion for season 7, episode 4. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos, including all of our remaining Game of Thrones reactions. Griffin, thank you so much for coming on and watching with us. Let everyone know, if they've made it this far, where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I know we've been trying to do this for a little bit. I'm really happy that our schedules were able to align. And for like an episode like this that I like actually really love, that I'm like super stoked on. I actually, when you told me the episode, I was like, is that the one that I think it is? And I was like, yes, all right, cool. We get to talk about like the epic massacre of the Lannisters. It's great. So yeah, if you guys like me, you can follow me on Twitter at GriffSchiller, or you can head on over to the FilmSpeak channel for like video essays and stuff like that. We got cool stuff over there, so check it out.
All right. And Tyler, as always, thanks for coming on. Where can folks find you?
Yeah, it's always a fun time. It's great to work with Griff on this, just because we had, like he was saying, we have been trying to schedule this for a while. I remember behind the scenes, Larry was telling me like this is a really exciting episode, so we had to get a really exciting guest for it. It lived up to the hype, at least in my opinion, as far as
Good.
I've waited so long for it. But yeah,
I'm glad I wasn't
over,
just an absolute disaster of a guest. So that's
yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, YouTube, it's pretty simple. Just Tyler Calvert. That's my channel. Reviews, rankings, a bunch of other stuff. And Twitter and Instagram, it's Tyler Calvert.
All right. And make sure to leave your thoughts on Season 7, Episode 4 in the comment section down below. How did you feel about everything that took place in this pretty epic episode? Let us know either in the comment section or, as you heard, you can hit all three of us up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.